This is fencing, and this is a fighting game. Right of way. My first ever devlog finished right before it reached the work on my fencing character. If you haven't watched part 1, you probably should first. Just know that this is a traditional 2D fighting game that is based on a core fencing rule, right of way, which decides who gets the point on a double touch. But what's a fencing game without a fencing character? This video will cover the journey to create the first ever Olympic fencer in a video game, and some other additions along the way. Sadly, I didn't really make anything for Musashi. Sorry all of you Musashi fans. Finally, part 3 will cover the first ever right-of-way tournament, which doesn't really fit in this video because the runtime and the pacing and it's a whole different kind of theme, yeah, you know. Let's pick up where we left off, spring break. With high hopes that my productivity would skyrocket now that school's on break, I began work on the fencer. Best part is, being a fencer, I can use myself as a reference. The first challenge was the mask. I looked for fencing pixel art online, but to nobody's surprise, there was none. But I'm proud of what I came up with. The two fencers watching this may be wondering, why did I draw an Epeeist, not a Foilist? Isn't the game called right-of-way? Epee is the only type of fencing in which there is no right-of-way. That is a valid complaint, but before I answer, here's the context for the rest of you. Fencing has 3 forms, based on the chosen blade. The epee is the heaviest blade, and while fencing with it, everything is target. You can get hit on the toe and the opponent gets a point, no complaints. The foil is the lightest blade with a practically non-existent guard. But that's fine because while fencing with it, only the torso is target. The saber is the coolest blade, and while fencing with it, the upper body is target, and you run Mach 10 at the opponent. There's something crucial I left out, right of way. Just like the hit game, that won Game of the Year 2025. In epee fencing, you don't worry about this rule of priority. So, right of way is a rule of priority, in which whoever has said priority scores the point on a double touch. This encourages the disadvantaged fencer to actually be cautious and avoid getting stabbed. Ironically, saber fencers have right of way, yet they try their best to get stabbed. Then, they scream as if they got stabbed. Every single time. Therefore, knowing all that, the reason I chose to make an Epeeist first was because their entire body is target, and I don't have to animate entirely separate sprites based on whether you have right of way or not. I think this looks pretty good. There's definitely something off about his sprite. I think it's the outline, and he's a French grip, so obviously that's going to be an issue for the 2 fencers that are watching this video. So I'm going to go ahead and set him up as a real character. The reason I'm copying the rectangle, the tip of his blade is like a rectangle. Okay, well, I'm not gonna keep that in the video. What am I talking about? When you're dealing with your AI, don't tell the AI to literally delete itself. Don't do that. It's probably gonna not work anyways. No way it worked. What? Why did it work? Oh, I can make a move. What? What is going on? Can I hit him? Nope. Oh, great. I'm getting comboed. Oh, I'm gone. Gotta get away. Wait, can I hit him? Oh, I'm carrying him with me. Next, a lunge animation. I used the aforementioned video of myself as my reference, and it worked surprisingly well. That actually looks pretty nice. Oh. Finally, what was long overdue, a main menu. Sadly, it was an ugly main menu. What is this? It looks really stupid, but I kinda wanna keep it. Then, a character select screen so that you wouldn't fight Musashi and the Epeeist at the same time. You see the white screens on both sides? Those will display something of the character's personality. Starting with Guy's screen is based on Ryu's arcade ending from Street Fighter 2. I love this ending screen. It gives nostalgia for a game I only ever played on a school Chromebook, yet resonates with me so much. Next, Musashi screen. I took inspiration from Yojimbo's iconic faraway shot. I actually love samurai movies, especially anything Kurosawa, so I could not miss this opportunity. Finally, the fencer's screen. Honestly, I had no idea what to make. I just drew a fencing strip and a little epee plugged in at the end. Personally, I think the perspective looks weird, but I'll come back to it next spring break. Amazing main menu. I'll choose him, and then him. Okay, and then it waits a second before putting you into the match. And he's still here, of course. I should have done this the whole time, where you move and it shows you the, okay. And then when you choose them, it kind of lights for a second. I spent the final week in the spring break debugging the aforementioned glitch, in which if you spam the same attack, your character will be frozen at the end of its animation.
Attack 2. Wait.
So I implemented my own fix, which I had feared the entire time. Manually checking if the animation is over before you can travel to the same animation. I just created an array to store the names of every possible attack animation, and when the player inputs a move, it first checks if the character's current animation is an attack animation. If it is, the player is not allowed to input a move because they haven't fully traveled to the neutral state yet. I now use a better video of me as a reference. So look at this, what I have now, and this, what I had before. It's always the walk animations, they're the worst part. They are the worst part of making games. They are my #1 enemy. Hate walking animations. The problem is that he has to go back. The fencer's walking animation gave me a lot of trouble. How was I supposed to draw him walking forward in the canvas, but not have the sprite move away from the character body 2D? I'd have to somehow teleport the character body 2D to the position of the sprite. But I decided to solve that later. I had a lot of trouble with the hitboxes of player 2 copying the hitboxes of player 1. My fix? I preloaded each character. After noticing the hitbox problems for the past month, I was overjoyed to have it working. What? What? Oh. The first thing I addressed was the elephant in the room, the big player 2. All I had to do was shrink the characters individually. I had to do this because when I began this project months ago, I never planned ahead enough to make a consistent size for all the sprites. So Guy is way larger than the rest, especially since I drew him in 3x3 instead of 1x1? Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Since I didn't feel like resizing the stage, characters, etc., I just added some more code to resize the characters when they are instantiated. Trust me, cutting corners never backfires. What? What the? Oh, cool. May 20th. School is closer and closer to ending. I had to present my game because I said it was my final project for AP Computer Science applications. Here's the main menu I made in 45 minutes right beforehand because I refused to show the other main menu in public. Honestly, I'm proud of it. I rushed making the lights, but they actually are passable, and the camera movement is not bad. Come up here. Okay, the AI's... He's the creator. That's a crazy range. Okay, well that's oh, you can just walk in. How do you hit him? 4 days later, I sat down to make some audio. I have no idea what that's going to be for, but I think it sounds pretty funny. It's been 5 minutes. I've already made so much progress that I found a different program to use. Never mind. This is what it's supposed to sound like, something similar to this. Do you think it sounds good? It's too much like a clap. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna export this and test it out. I really don't think it's gonna work. I was right! Oh, I'm stupid. Right. Okay, we're trying that again. Okay. I just didn't see that. You heard that, right? Okay. Doesn't sound like a parry at all. That does not sound like a parry. I'm fixing that. I went on websites that are like free license sound effects and stuff like that. I don't know, like I don't want to just be taking stuff from other people and have to worry about licensing. So, why don't I just make my own sound effects? I'll start with Musashi sound effects. Unfortunately, this one is not a high quality one. You hold it upside down and it just falls out. Don't try this at home. That does not make the sound I thought it would. I don't think it should be making this kind of sound. These are not high enough quality for it to sound like, you know, metal. It's Damascus steel. It's not even real, let's be honest. Don't do this at home. Don't just lay katanas, sharp katanas on a chair. Unless you're me, of course, because then you're like a professional. Oh, that sounds good. Okay. So this is what it sounds like. It works for now. Oh. It's extremely off timing, but doesn't sound like a parry. I don't know what that would sound like. But after I let the sound effects marinate for a day, in came the post-game dev insanity. I'm just gonna sit back and let you witness it yourself. Microphone on. This sounds so bad. Listen to this. Sounds horrible. No, I'm not gonna listen to that. I'll spare my ears, but not yours. Why does this sound like swords clashing when he hits my bare skin? That doesn't make sense. Listen to this. Listen to this. Oh, never mind. I got beat. Listen to this. Listen to this. Why does this sound like that? The parry is the biggest offender. Well, I guess I should stick to drawing. Around a month ago in class, I did this. The teacher wouldn't stop talking, which is like all my classes, and I was bored, so I just kind of wrote out plans for the fencer. And the gist of it, what's important, is that it doesn't have a dash, like typical fighting game characters would. I mean, in fencing, you don't do like a whole dash and you float in the air. That's not how it works. Their dash buttons control footwork, which will be essential for the player to avoid being parried, to bait out attacks, etc. It only took me 2 hours, but look at this animation. He steps forward, right? You end up here. And then this is called a check back. I think it looks pretty nice. So when you're already stepped forward, then you do a retreat. And you're going to be doing all those kind of shenanigans with your feet, with the dash input. It's going to be super cool. Whoa, now you just teleport. Same problem with the walking animation. Watch this. It does this because when you walk, you know, you kind of like move forwards, right? That's like the whole point of walking. But with a sprite, it's supposed to loop the animation. So let's say you get to the end of the animation and you have to go to start again. Like how he teleports? How do we fix that? The simple fix I have is that when the animation's over, the character moves back within the real world space. I'm looking at my normal screen in OBS, my recording software. On your side, it looks completely fine. On my end, which you guys can't see like I can, he's teleporting. It's just strange. On my end, because of this fix, there's like a frame or two in which it doesn't update in time. Whatever the reason is, there's a small discrepancy between when the position changes and when the animation changes. So on my end, he's teleporting. So what do? I don't know. We'll think about this. Not perfect, but it works. So you may be wondering, how did you do this? How did you come up with this? How did you somehow fix this? By using root motion. The video I'm showing right now is actually what I uploaded right before this video. Instead of tackling this monster of a devlog with 209 videos to go through, I made a 3-minute, slightly satirical guide. If you really care about root motion, for whatever reason, go watch that. Using keyframes in the animation player. In summary, I created a node that acts as the center of the sprite. When the sprite moves in the canvas, the root does as well. Then, when an animation finishes, the character's position moves to the position of the root. How it teleports, so they come together, I'm really proud of that. It's my own root motion. June, school is basically over. I'm finally free. It was time for a new stage. This is a fencing strip, obviously, with the lights changing depending on where the players are at. Also, it lights up depending on whoever scored. Oh, also, the stage. The stage lights up when someone gets a hit. There, it lights up green. I created a cool toe lunge for the Epeeist, which, if you were listening earlier, and while fencing with it, everything is target, is only applicable to Epeists. You can get hit on the toe and the opponent gets a point, no complaints. Since school is over, I can finally be more productive than ever before, fulfilling my dreams from spring break. Now there's more moves for the Epeeist as well. Really? These are different lines the blade can be in. They look kind of stupid, like I never see, typically in a normal fencing bout, no one's going like, no one's doing that. The reason I do this is because if you see, he leans backwards, and during that, his hurt box actually moves backwards as well. So the hurt box is pretty far up here, and now it's all the way back. So this is what he's going to use to bait out attacks. So with the dash button, you can do a check back, which is this, or you could step forward and do a big advance. And the idea is that if the Epeeist is very easy to parry, you just walk up and parry. Then how does the Epeeist counter that? Either use the foot. So the opponent's trying to hit you, they think that you're gonna come forward, and so they prematurely parry. Instead, you do a check back, and now they just whip the parry. It's a lot of animating to do. I'll show you now. This is the epee sheet right now, looking pretty cool. And then, so on the big kick, the legs lower down, and then he stretches even more upwards. Start down here, and then the hitbox shifts upwards. I have some advice for you guys. Never stop and look at a sprite while you're drawing it. Out of boredom, I designed a future character in a competition against my friend. I don't know, comment on who you think won and what the character is from. Honestly, I don't think 99% of you have even heard of it. Remember how Guy has a Fleche? Well, I finally made one for the fencer too, because, you know, it originates from fencing. When you close a distance enough, you can make a desperate attempt to hit the opponent. Sometimes too desperate. It's kind of like a spring. The power is being built as it bends more, and then all the energy releases as he flies upwards. Like with Guy, you have to input the dash first, and from there you can go flying. But if you Fleche after you finish taking a step forward, you go farther and continue running so you can go past the opponent. This not only makes the dash footwork scarier, but discourages the player from instantly fleshing. After all, you wouldn't want to get parried. I truly cooked here. Nothing else can be said. Well, I could explain what this is. This is the first super attack for Guy. It is based on Ken's Super R3 from Street Fighter 3, the Shippu Jinraikyaku.
Alright, that's cool.
I spent the time drawing all 87 frames for two reasons. Ken's Super R3 is iconic and sick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I needed a break from drawing fencing sprites. They are mind-numbingly boring and annoying to work on.
That's what I expected.
So that's like 25 minutes I spent just moving 87 frames. And obviously, I did not add this Tatsumaki right here. What I did was the high vertical kick because I'm original. I never copy something else. That's bad. And let me tell you, this made me such a better animator. I mean, you can look at individual frames and just look at how beautiful it is. If this game doesn't do well, then okay, so be it. I have learned a lot and grown a lot. Yeah! Get out of here. Oh, you think I'm gonna do it? Yeah, you're wrong. If I didn't have to control two people, well, how did I hit him? Then I took 2 entire hours to draw the fire effects on top of the super. Yep, just the animation before wasn't enough for me. I believe the hard work definitely paid off. I was optimistic as I began planning a tournament for my game, to be held as soon as the fencer is completed. I refused to be done with the fencer until his blade lines did something. I did not want his line attacks to just be jabs, but to be vital to his moveset. Every fencer is unique and experiments with different lines, which needs to be reflected in my game if I'm ever going to claim that it is inspired by fencing. So, once you enter different blade lines, you can stay in that line as you move around. Extended your blade? Cool. Want to keep it extended as you retreat? You absolutely can. That's really cool. I plan to do this for other lines as well, as you'll see soon. If you were to change your line to be down here, you'd walk with your blade pointed to the floor, for example. Or if you were to retract your blade, you would just walk towards the opponent with your blade all the way back here. You can retract your blade entirely to avoid getting parried, which people actually do in fencing a lot. Let's get back to what else I made. Look at what happens when you select Musashi. I haven't even shown this yet. I made something really cool. This is something I did to make 2 player AIs fight each other, right? Spawn the characters. I have a map select. Yeah. And they just keep fighting. Isn't that so cool? I don't know where to put myself. So now they fight each other, but if they go completely off screen, if they go completely off screen, it gets reset. Or if they pass each other, it gets reset. These are very crude AIs. Calling it AI is very generous. All it is just loads of if statements. Like if the opponent is within 80 distance, you rolled above a 4 out of 10, do a parry. It's just loads of if statements. I'm gonna work on AI later because I have scoped so broad for this video. I've worked on so much random. What is he doing? Yo, that was cool. Oh right, I didn't even show You can change the stage as they're fighting. I'm gonna add a third stage that's gonna be a green screen, because I think it'd be pretty funny if I were to do that. Now we're here. Oh, I didn't show the parry for the Epeeist. I never showed the walking animation as well. So look at this retreat animation. I think it looks really nice. And this is the walking animation. This is the parry animation. It doesn't really look like one. You have like 10 frames to parry, and then it's like 15 frames that you can get hit. So all of this is just in lag, which helps balance him out because he's already really strong. You guys got the, oh, nice one. Oh, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Yeah, get parried. Yeah. Yeah, get out of here. I'm tired. I think I'm just gonna finish the idle animation for this tomorrow. I had to sit down and work on the line animations for 2 days straight. If school was still in session, this would have taken me months to do. Because 1, it's a lot of pesky manual labor to change multiple animations so many times. You see how much I have to do? Look at all this busy work I've been doing. Look at all these animations I've had to do. It's just me altering the arms, which seems like it'd be easy, right? You just take this and move the arm and move the shoulder. And 2, it was so boring that I'd go on my phone every 10 minutes. Seems easy, but it's so boring. It's so hard to not get distracted, not to procrastinate. So if you just want to keep the blade extended, or you could reel it back, you're less likely to get parried. Not only that, you can do the dash inputs to do different stuff. And to get out of it, you have to go into another line. So you either press the normal jab, or you go down, or you go up. Also, for some nice additions, I made another stage. Also, I made a green screen. So now, oh, he just fell. And a hurt animation for Guy. Once again, inspired by footsies. This was the end game. All I had dreamed of for this update, for this devlog, Shippu Jinraikyaku, was finally a reality. The next day, the 22nd of June, I would go to a fencing tournament, the first one in 4 months. The plan was to host the tournament for my game after I went to the fencing tournament. It would be super fun and finally reap the rewards of the past half year. For this tournament, I needed some finishing touches. What you see me animating is a squat attack, which is a fun way to land a counterattack, especially against an opponent fleshing. As people do high attacks, the Epeeist can avoid them. Sadly, the sprite looks stupid, but whatever. I had tournaments to look forward to. I have to describe one more thing, motion inputs. In fighting games, these are how you do all the cool moves like Hadoukens and Shoryukens. All you have to do is move the joystick in a specific way and then immediately press the corresponding button. But I haven't used this thing in over a year. You can do motion inputs on a keyboard, a controller, a guitar, a steering wheel, a DJ turntable, even a recorder. Because in the end, motion inputs are just directions transcribed into numbers. This is called numpad notation, assuming the player is facing right. 4 is backwards, 6 is forwards, 2 is down, 8 is up, and then everything in between. Using this, I added motion inputs to my game by converting directional inputs into numbers and then storing them in a list. If a known motion input exists in the list, for example the last 3 numbers are 2, 3, and 6, then the player is tagged with that motion input. Then after a 1/4 of a second, the window for inputting a special attack is over. With this new system, the previous squat attack and Guy's Shippu Jinraikyaku require a bit more effort to input. With all that covered, we can move on. The day finally came and went. I finished my 2nd ever fencing tournament. Yep, my 2nd ever tournament. I know, I'm a fraud, okay? In fact, that one earlier in the video, that was my 1st ever fencing tournament. That's why I had barely anything to show off. This entire time I've acted so high and mighty as if I'm some kind of fencing professional. But no. I've only fenced for a year and a month. Most people my age began when they were like 7, but not me. Still, I'm fighting to get to the same level. I'm sorry, I know, I led you guys on this entire video. Anyways, for a day, I took a break, but I couldn't sleep that night, all in anticipation of the final day. So beautiful. So beautiful. This is it. Restless, I made one last stage. It's based on the location of the duel in Harakiri. Out of 14 people, 8 agreed to join, but out of those 8, 4 bailed last second. So you see why this is a solo project, not a team effort, right? If you're interested in watching the best game of all time grow and develop, stick around for a bit. If you're very interested, like way too interested in my game, then maybe check out the Patreon linked in the description.
Brother, this guy stinks!
Okay, listen, I don't like doing this begging stuff, but it's what funds the game. You might be able to tell, but I'm not exactly old enough to have like a well-paying job to fund my game. Okay, let's get this over with. If you want early access to playtesting and to see updates on my game as they happen instead of waiting for each devlog, then you know where to go. Otherwise, thanks for watching.
Don't you want a rematch?